Was the Great Flood described in the many ancient texts real? Who destroyed Atlantis? What happened to the Ark of the Covenant? Where are the missing bones of Peking Man? Well, there are a lot of ancient mysteries that we still cannot explain, and in this video, we'll be going to show you some of the greatest puzzles ever left behind by our ancestors. So, are you ready? Well, let's dive in. Number 15. The Iron Crown of Lombardy people have crowned kings with gold, jewels, bloodlines, and blessings. But the Iron Crown of Lombardy was supposed to carry something far more sacred: one nail from the crucifixion of Christ. Legend says Saint Helena, who was the mother of Emperor Constantine, found the true cross in Jerusalem during the 4th century. And one holy nail eventually reached Queen Theodelinda of the Lombards. That nail was said to form the thin inner band of a golden crown decorated with 22 gemstones and 24 enamel plaques. Charlemagne was linked to it in 800, and Napoleon crowned himself with it in 1805, declaring, "God gives it to me." Then science checked the legend. In 1993, the University of Milan tested the crown and found the famous iron band was actually 99% silver. It wasn't an iron or a nail. But radiocarbon tests showed some beeswax inside dated around 500, with later material around 800. The crown is real, ancient, and royal, but its holiest secret may have vanished long before anyone dared question it. Number 14. The cursed Book of Thoth, the Emerald Tablet, wasn't the only ancient object said to contain the secrets of the universe. Egyptian mythology tells of another work known as the Book of Thoth, and its reputation was even more terrifying. While the Emerald Tablet promised wisdom, the Book of Thoth was said to grant unimaginable knowledge, but at a terrible cost. According to ancient Egyptian stories, the book was written by Thoth, the god of wisdom, writing, and knowledge. It contained powerful spells capable of revealing the language of animals, unlocking the hidden forces of nature, and exposing secrets that no ordinary human was ever meant to know. But Thoth never intended anyone to possess it. One famous legend tells of Prince Neferkaptah, who risked everything to steal the sacred book from the bottom of the Nile, where it was guarded by magical serpents. Although he succeeded, the victory came at a devastating price. Egyptian tradition says Thoth punished him by taking the lives of his wife and young son, leaving the prince to end his own life in despair. While archaeologists never found this so-called Book of Thoth, the legend endured. Number 13. The Jericho plastered skulls. People today keep photographs of the dead. In Neolithic Jericho, they kept the face itself. At Tel Es Sultan, near the Dead Sea, archaeologists, including Kathleen Kenyon, uncovered skulls dating back 9,000 to 9,500 years, around 7,000 BC. These were not simple burials. After death, the skulls were cleaned, the lower jaws were removed, and lime plaster was shaped over the bone to rebuild human features. Shells, often cowrie or bivalves, were placed in the eye sockets, giving the dead an unsettling stare. Some still carried traces of pigment and painted hair. These skulls were buried beneath house floors, dug up, handled, and buried again, as if ancestors remained part of daily life. Similar examples appear at Ain Ghazal, Tel Aswad, and Atalhaik. Were they portraits, guardians, or a way of keeping the dead from truly leaving? Number 12. The disappearance of the Xia dynasty. Every nation loves a founding story, but China's first dynasty sits in that strange place where memory begins acting like smoke. The Xia dynasty is traditionally said to have begun with Yu the Great, the flood tamer who controlled the Yellow River and founded a royal line around 2070 BC. Later records claim the dynasty lasted nearly 5 centuries before its final ruler, Jie, lost the mandate of heaven and was overthrown by Tang, founder of the Shang. The problem is simple and maddening. No Xia inscription has ever been found saying, "We are Xia." For a long time, many scholars treated it as a legend. Then, excavations at Erlitou in Henan revealed a powerful Bronze Age culture dating roughly 1900 to 1500 BC, with palaces, bronze tools, jade objects, and organized urban planning. It fits the right period, but not the final proof. Was Erlitou the Xia capital, or only a civilization later turned into China's first royal myth? The river knows more than the records admit. Number 11. Mel's Hole, the radio call that refused to die well. Some mysteries begin with ruins. This one began with a late-night voice on the radio. On February 21, 1997, a man calling himself Mel Waters phoned Art Bell's Coast to Coast AM and described a strange hole on rural land near Ellensburg, Washington. He said it was about 9 feet wide, lined with stones near the top, and impossible to fill. Trash, appliances, even dead animals disappeared into it without raising the bottom. Then came the detail that made the story infamous. Mel claimed he lowered a fishing line into the shaft for 80,000 feet, about 15 miles, without hitting anything. Later, he spoke of dead animals returning, birds avoiding the opening, snow melting around it, and government agents buying the property. No records confirm Mel Waters, his land, or the hole. Yet Art Bell believed the caller sounded genuine until his death in 2018. Maybe it was fiction. Or maybe not. Either way, no one has found the hole. Number 10. The legendary tomb of Qin Shi Huang Well. A man who wants to rule forever rarely plans to die alone. That thought hangs over the burial world of Qin Shi Huang, China's first emperor, who died in 210 BC after unifying the country and chasing immortality until the end. Everyone knows his terracotta army near Shan, but beyond those soldiers lie smaller tombs tied to women of his court. Archaeologists have found human remains, ornaments, and burial patterns suggesting a grim imperial ritual. Ancient Han texts claim many concubines were killed or sealed inside the mausoleum complex so they could serve the emperor in the afterlife. Some historians see it as political murder, preventing possible heirs from threatening the throne. Others connect it to beliefs about eternal loyalty. The central tomb remains unopened, partly because of preservation concerns. And soil tests have detected unusually high mercury levels, matching old accounts of rivers of mercury inside. So the women remain nameless, buried beside an emperor who feared death more than anything. Number 9. The Iraq Museum's Lost Prehistoric Treasures. A museum can be robbed in a day, but the loss can last for centuries. In April 2003, after the U.S. invasion of Iraq, the National Museum of Iraq in Baghdad was looted for roughly 36 hours. Around 15,000 objects disappeared, though staff had already hidden 8,366 artifacts in protected storage before the chaos began. Many stolen pieces were small enough to vanish easily. Cylinder seals, clay tablets, amulets, beads, figurines, bronzes, and early ceramic vessels. Some reports suggest nearly 5,000 cylinder seals were among the missing. That matters because a cylinder seal is not just decoration. Rolled across wet clay, it recorded ownership, trade, belief, and power in the world's first cities. The University of Chicago's Oriental Institute, now the Institute for the Study of Ancient Cultures, helped build the Lost Treasures from Iraq database using photographs and catalog records. Some artifacts returned, thousands did not. What vanished was not only objects, but the evidence trail back to civilization's beginning. Number 8. The strange lights of Mount Tai. People climbed Mount Tai to speak with heaven, so imagine what it meant when heaven seemed to answer back. This sacred peak in Shandong province has been worshipped for thousands of years as one of China's 5 great mountains, the place where emperors performed the Fengshen sacrifices to confirm their right to rule. But old records also describe Shenhu, or divine fire, weird lights seen drifting near the summit. Some witnesses describe glowing orbs, others, pale flames moving through mist, sometimes blue or green, appearing and vanishing without warning. Modern explanations range from ball lightning to electrical effects caused by quartz-rich rock under tectonic pressure. Others point to insects, fungi, fog, or atmospheric distortion. Maybe some sightings are just that. But the reports are too old, too consistent, and too tied to the mountain's sacred meaning to dismiss easily. Were people seeing nature at work? Or did Mount Tai earn its holy reputation for reasons we still do not understand? Number 7. The Children of Lulayaco Well. This one is a bit of a chilling mystery. In 1999, high on Volcan Lulayaco between Argentina and Chile, Johann Reinhard and Constanza Cerruti found 3 Inca children preserved at about 600-700 meters, over 22,000 feet above sea level. They died around 1500 AD in the Inca ritual of Capacocha. The oldest girl, known as the Maiden, was about 13. A boy was around 7, and the youngest girl, later called the Lightning Girl, was about 6. Cold, dry, oxygen-poor air preserved them almost perfectly, even the Maiden's organs, blood, hair lice, and clothing. Hair analysis showed rising amounts of coca and chicha, likely used to sedate them before they were left to die from exposure. Fine textiles, figurines, and food surrounded them. Were they offerings, victims, or honored messengers to the gods? The answer depends on which side of the mountain you stand. But as we say, no one knows what actually happened back then. Number 6. The vanished city of Lulan. If you think Atlantis is the greatest lost city in history, there's another one that disappeared for real. Well, no myths, no legends. Just a thriving kingdom that stood on one of the world's busiest trade routes and then vanished without a trace. It was called Lulan, an oasis kingdom that flourished along the Silk Road more than 2,000 years ago in what is now China's Taklamakan Desert. Ancient Chinese records describe Lulan as a wealthy city where merchants from China, Persia, Central Asia, and even lands connected to the Roman world crossed paths. Then, sometime around the 4th century AD, it was abandoned. The leading theory says the Tarim River changed course, cutting off the city's only reliable water source. But that explanation hasn't answered every question. When Swedish explorer Sven Hedin rediscovered the ruins in 1900, he found astonishingly preserved mummies, silk, wooden tablets, and evidence of a surprisingly diverse population. The famous beauty of Lulan, whose Dina later revealed ancient Indo-European ancestry, only deepened the mystery. If an entire city could simply disappear once, could parts of it still be waiting beneath the shifting desert sands? Number 5. The lost village of Red Lake. Some holes look less like geology and more like the planet hiding evidence. Red Lake, or Crveno Jezero, sits in Croatia's Dalmatian hinterland, surrounded by red limestone cliffs dropping about 790 feet to the water. Local tradition says a village once stood there before the ground collapsed in the 15th century, swallowing everything. Science has not made the story simpler. A 1999 Austrian survey measured the lake at about 920 feet below the surface. Later Croatian-Italian measurements suggested depths up to 1,700 feet, leaving an unresolved difference of nearly 800 feet. No third survey has settled it. The lake also contains 3 endemic fish species found nowhere else, though the route that brought them into this sealed karst system remains only partly traced. Divers documented cave formations down to around 200 feet, but deeper walls and possible submerged remains remain untouched. Well, if this ancient village legend is true, its ruins may still be down there, waiting below the blue-green water. Number 4. The disappearance of the ancient Uazi people. Some people disappear because they are destroyed. Others disappear because they become someone else. The Yuezhi were once a powerful nomadic people living around Gansu and Xinjiang, known in Chinese records for horses, jade trade, metalwork, and their role along the early Silk Road. Around the 2nd century BC, they were defeated by the Xiongnu and forced westward across Central Asia. Chinese sources trace them to Bactria in modern Afghanistan, where they may have overthrown Greek successor kingdoms and later helped form the Kushan Empire, a state that spread Buddhism and connected India, China, and the Roman world. If that is true, the Yuezhi did not vanish, they changed names. Yet the mystery remains. Some groups may have died in the Taklamakan Desert or the Tian Shan passes, leaving only textiles, bronze ornaments, and mummified remains with mixed Eurasian features. Their name faded, but their footprints seem scattered across half a continent. So, what do you think about them? Let us know. Number 3. The Soloman Ungandong skull's A fossil can survive and still lose part of its story. Between 1931 and 1933, on a river terrace above the Solo River in Java, researchers uncovered the Ungandong skulls, often called Soloman. The site produced 12 cranial vaults and 2 tibiae, now widely classified as late Asian Homo erectus, sometimes named Homo erectus soloensis. Their brains were large, roughly 1,050 to 1,300 cubic centimeters, close to the lower modern human range, yet their skulls remained unmistakably archaic, thick bone, heavy brow ridges, long, low brain cases. A 2020 dating study placed them around 117 to 108,000 years ago, making them among the last known Homo erectus on Earth. But war damaged the record. Japanese occupation, scattered notes, and one skull's wartime trip to Tokyo weakened the original context. The bones survived. The clean story of exactly how they entered the river deposit did not. What's your take on it? Number 2. The Berezniki sinkhole A city does not feel fragile until the ground under it proves otherwise. On July 28, 2007, part of a railway yard in Berezniki, Russia, simply dropped into the earth. The hole opened about 160 feet wide and 260 feet deep in a single day. Beneath it was the real problem: more than 125 miles of flooded potash and salt mine tunnels worked since 1954. In 2006, water had breached mine number 1, and salt does what salt always does: when water finds it, it dissolves. The supports holding up the mines, and by extension the city, began weakening from below. The sinkhole later expanded to roughly 140 by 1,060 feet, forcing over 11,000 residents to relocate. One sonar attempt reached 920 feet before a secondary collapse destroyed the instrument. Whether that was the bottom or only the last reading, nobody knows. Now, let's talk about Number 1. The mystery of Peking man's missing bones. Losing a fossil is bad luck. Losing the bones of an entire chapter of human evolution feels almost criminal. At Zhoukoudian's Dragon Bone Hill, near Beijing, scientists found the remains of Peking man, an early Homo erectus population more than 500,000 years old. The site was first explored in 1921 by Swedish geologist Johann, and in 1929, Chinese paleontologist Pei Wenzhong found the first complete skull cap. More than 200 fossils from about 40 individuals followed, along with tools and evidence of fire. Then war swallowed them. In 1941, as Japanese forces threatened Beijing, the fossils were packed for shipment to safety, reportedly toward the American Museum of Natural History. Somewhere between Peking Union Medical College and the coast at Qinhuangdao, they vanished. Shipwreck, ambush, theft, secret burial, every theory exists. But no proof has surfaced. Casts remain. The originals do not. Somewhere, perhaps the real face of Peking man is still waiting in a crate no one has opened. Well, that's all from us. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.